In this video, we'll take a closer look at Samsung's new budget phone, the Galaxy A17. We'll go through 7 pros and 4 cons of this device so you can understand both its strengths and weaknesses. Let's begin with the positives. The first pro, and it's obvious why I have to start with this one, the 6.7-inch Super AMOLED display. Samsung keeps the beautiful AMOLED screen on its most affordable phone. The last time we saw a PLS LCD was 2 years ago on the Samsung A14, and that wasn't great. Now, with the A17, color accuracy is much improved and you'll experience less eye strain thanks to a much more comfortable viewing experience. The 6.7-inch screen comes with a sharp Full HD Plus resolution, which is more than enough to give you clear, crisp visuals, and for a budget phone, that's already impressive. Another nice surprise is brightness. A17's display can reach up to 800 nits, so even on a bright sunny day, you'll have no trouble seeing the screen outdoors. Then when you're back inside, ready to go to bed, the brightness can drop all the way down to around 2 nits, making it super comfortable to use in the dark. Another nice thing is the 90Hz refresh rate, which makes images and animations move smoothly. When you add everything up, I have to say Samsung has put a really nice display on this affordable phone. The second pro, it will receive 6 major Android updates. That's not a big surprise. The A16 got the same number of updates, but it's still great to see that Samsung kept up their generosity. If you buy this phone now, it should get its final OS update in 2031. These updates really matter because they bring bug fixes, performance improvements, and most importantly, new security patches to keep your phone safe. The A17 already comes secured by Knox, which is always a good thing, and right out of the box it runs Android 15 with One UI 7, a highly customizable operating system that also looks great. This long software support is something I really appreciate. It shows that Samsung actually cares about its users. Moving on to the third pro, good cameras with optical image stabilization. The cameras are solid, but keep your expectations realistic, it's still a budget phone. They're good, not amazing, but with the A17, Samsung has made a pretty big and unexpected improvement compared to previous models. We're getting a 50-megapixel main camera with optical image stabilization. The lens actually moves to reduce camera shake. Awesome! Because of this and other improvements, Samsung claims that night shots can be up to 2.5 times brighter. And that does make sense, as long as your subject isn't moving. For example, if you're photographing a building or someone standing still. Thanks to optical image stabilization, camera shake is minimized, more light reaches the sensor, and this results in brighter, sharper images overall. The other cameras don't have optical image stabilization, but we still get a 5-megapixel ultra-wide and a 2-megapixel macro, as always. One thing I like is that both the A17 4G and 5G versions use the same camera setup, including the optical image stabilization on the main lens. On the front, there's a 13-megapixel selfie camera, which is basically the same one found on the older A16. Samsung didn't make any major changes here, aside from a few small tweaks in image processing. Overall, the photos look good on this new phone. It's a noticeable improvement over the A16, especially when it comes to shots with the main camera. When it comes to video, you can only record in Full HD at a maximum of 30 frames per second, so there's no 4K support here. As I mentioned earlier, this is a budget phone, but honestly, the cameras perform really well for the price you're paying. A big surprise for me was discovering that video stabilization is available on all the rear cameras, not just the main one with optical image stabilization. Both the ultra-wide and macro cameras now have the option to enable digital image stabilization, something we've never seen before on Samsung phones in this price range. The only exception is the selfie camera, which doesn't support video stabilization. This option is grayed out when you switch to selfie mode. Still, it's great to see video image stabilization available on all the rear cameras on such an affordable phone. The fourth pro, improved build quality with an IP54 rating. Compared to its predecessor, the A16, which you can now see on the left, the A17 uses more premium materials. It now has Gorilla Glass Victus on the front, a plastic frame, and a glass fiber back. Just like the A16, the A17 also comes with an IP54 dust and water resistance. Take a look here. The SIM tray is rubberized to help prevent water from getting inside. Of course, this doesn't mean you can submerge the A17 underwater, but it's still well protected against dust and light rain, which is always a really nice feature to see on a budget phone. The fifth pro, plenty of storage. The A17 comes in 5 different versions, ranging from 128GB of internal storage with 4GB of RAM up to 256GB of storage with 8GB of RAM. Getting this much storage on an entry-level smartphone is already impressive. There's more than enough space for your photos, videos, and apps. But it gets even better. The dual SIM tray also includes a microSD card slot, letting you expand your storage by up to 2 TB, which is pretty incredible for a budget device. The 6 Pro, a good battery life with 25 watts charging. For a $200 smartphone, the battery life is quite impressive. With a 5000 mAh battery, it comfortably lasts a full day under moderate use, and it can even stretch up to 2 days with lighter use. I know, these things are expected for phones nowadays, but the results are still solid for a device at this price point. On top of that, it supports a minimum of 1200 full charge cycles, which is excellent for long-term battery health. 25 watts fast charging generates less heat, which helps keep the battery healthy over time. I saved my favorite Pro last. It's thinner and lighter. The A17 is 0.4mm slimmer than the A16. This might not sound like much, but if you're used to the older model and pick up the A17, you immediately notice the difference. The newer phone feels more comfortable in your hands, takes up less space in your pocket, and it's just a pleasure to use. That 0.4mm size reduction really makes a difference. And if that wasn't enough, it's also 6 grams lighter, adding even more comfort during daily use. In my opinion, the biggest upgrades on the A17 are the optical image stabilization and the fact that it's slimmer and lighter. These were the good things. Now let's also look at the main downsides. First con, it has an average performance when it comes to daily use. The A17 5G basically has the same hardware as its predecessor, the A16 5G, so their performance is nearly identical. This doesn't mean it's a slow phone. It handles social media and multitasking just fine. It's even decent for light gaming, but we have to remember that this is a budget device. One important point: if you're planning to buy the A17, I recommend going for the 5G version. It has significantly better hardware than the A17 4G. It is roughly 20% better, so you'll notice less stuttering and smoother performance. I think that $20 difference is well worth it. The second con has to do with the 5-megapixel ultra-wide camera. An ultra-wide camera is really useful if you're in tight spaces or if you want to capture more of your surroundings. It's great that Samsung included one on the A17, but it would have been even better if it had more megapixels. While 5 megapixels is enough for most situations, 8 megapixels would have been nicer. Due to market segmentation, Samsung reserved the higher resolution cameras for their more expensive models. Third con, no stereo speakers. If you're watching videos on YouTube or just listening to music, the sound only comes from the bottom of the phone. That's where A17 speaker is located. Normally, the second speaker would be positioned above the screen near the notch, but the A17 doesn't have one. This means you're gonna get a more limited audio experience while using it. The fourth con, no headphone jack. Samsung included a headphone jack on the A14 and A15, but it was removed on the A16 and now on the A17. And as we've seen with their more expensive phones, this seems to be the trend now. Without a headphone port, you can plug in wired headphones directly. Your options are either Bluetooth headphones or using an adapter in the USB-C port. There are a few other minor cons, like the screen-to-body ratio being the same as the older model. But that's easy to forgive once we see the slimmer profile, which really improves the overall handling and comfort of the phone. In conclusion, should you buy this phone? I really like the A17. It's a solid option for a $200 smartphone. I appreciate the fact that they put optical image stabilization on the main camera and the fact that it has better build materials. The slimmer profile and lighter weight also makes it much more comfortable to use. If you go for the A17 5G with its improved hardware, I think it's a very solid choice for a budget phone. With its new camera design and the nicely polished back, it even almost feels like a premium device, which is impressive at this price point. Of course, if you want stereo speakers and better performance, you'll need to spend a bit more, but the evolution of Samsung's entry-level A-series phones is definitely heading in the right direction. So the A17 5G comes recommended. Guys, if you found this video helpful, go ahead and hit that like button, and feel free to share your thoughts below in the comment section. See you in the next one. Take care.